A few hours ago, Governor Janet Mills delivered her State of the State address. This speech is different than her past because it included the Lewiston mass shootings and multiple devastating storms. Legislators, state leaders, and honored guests filled the House chambers to hear Governor Janet Mills' State of the State address.
We have had a very rough couple of months. We've been sorely tested time and time again. We have some pretty serious stuff to talk about.
She talked about the impacts of climate change, proposing more funding to be put into infrastructure.
I propose that we bolster this infrastructure fund with $50 million from our record-high rainy day fund to allow Maine communities to build and rebuild infrastructure.
It was an emotional night as Mills recognized first responders, victims, and survivors of the Lewiston tragedy. Mills addressed public safety to prevent future tragedies, calling for stronger yellow flag laws, background checks, and improved mental health care.
Let's strengthen violence prevention by establishing an injury and violence prevention program at the Maine CDC. Let's expand our crisis mental health systems. Let's keep weapons out of the hands of dangerous people by strengthening our extreme risk protection law and by requiring those who advertise guns for sale to check the NICS system, and by toughening our law that already makes it illegal to transfer a firearm to a prohibited person.